biggest headlines of the weekend was Detroit Lions defensive end Aidan Hutchinson's leg injury while making a tackle on Sunday in Dallas. He received surgery for a broken tibia and fibula. Now many fans are wondering what his treatment and recovery will look like. Joining us now is GMC Chief of Sports Medicine, Dr. Christopher Cooke. You're going to break it all down for us. Okay, so the biggest question a lot of people have right now is this a season-ending injury?
It's a great question. Most likely it is a season-ending injury. He had surgery last night, should be flying back to Detroit today or tomorrow. Right away can start rehabbing. I think we'll see him on the sideline this weekend or next weekend, partial weight bearing with crutches, much like University of Michigan football player Zach Zinter was last year. He was hurt at the Ohio State football game. A week later after surgery, he was at the Big Ten Championship. And Aidan Hutchinson will rehab like crazy throughout October, November, December, probably be jogging by Christmas or New Year's, but to come back and play professional football at that level this season, it's a lot to ask. Most likely he'll be ready next year for training camp.
Okay, so unlikely to see him return. Let's break down what part of the body is that when we talk about the tibia, is it, and the fibula?
There are two bones that connect your knee to your ankle. The big one on the inside is called the tibia, does about 90% of your weight bearing. The small one on the outside is called your fibula. When you injure this bone or break it in the middle, it does need to be fixed, and this can be done either with a plate or screws or most likely with a rod that goes between your knee and your ankle. The nice part is you can put weight on it right away and start rehabbing, working on muscle control, the joint of the knee, the joint on the ankle, keep things loose, keep things rehabbed, but he has to let the bone heal before he can start to practice and get ready to go back to play.
And when we talk about that recovery process and letting that bone heal, what does that look like for him?
A lot of it is actually counterintuitive. He has to relax and let the bone heal. He's got to eat well, sleep well, do his nutrition and rehab, but probably for once in his life, sit down and let the bone heal. If he overdoes it, puts too much weight on it, runs and jumps too early, the bone won't heal till its full potential, and that could lead to another injury someday.
And that's probably hard for a guy like him. So in situations like this, how do doctors kind of help that patient relax and you know, take that time off?
It's a great question. I tell my athletes, focus on what you can control. Focus on lifting your upper body, watching game film, getting your teammates ready. Focus on your nutrition, your sleep, and your rehab. You might not be able to physically make the bone grow back faster, but you can do the right things to give it the right environment, and you can avoid doing the things that make it grow back slower.
And speaking of avoiding, is there a way for athletes to avoid an injury like this one?
This is a very freak incident. We see it a lot in MMA fightings when kickers will kick each other's shins, but in football it's almost unheard of. It's less than 4% of the normal NFL lower extremity injuries. So he did not do anything wrong. It wasn't a lack of stretching or strengthening or warming up. It's just a freak accident that happens in a violent game. So I don't think there's anything he could have done to avoid this.
Yeah, so you said this is something that's not very common. We don't typically see. Any risk of complications long term?
There are some risks of complications. We've had a couple NFL players in the past who've had things like delayed healing, even infection, which can lead to longer recovery, even more surgeries. As far as in the future, if it heals properly the way it should, he's got over a 95% chance of coming back and playing football, and the odds of him breaking again are extremely small.
And Dr. Clearly, you're a Lions fan. Still hopeful for the season?
I'm very hopeful. I think they're going to rally around him. I think they're the best team in football, and they may not be as good without him, but I think he'll be the motivation we need to take it to the next level.
All right, Dr. Cooke, thank you so much for your insight.